Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
Black Adam is here finally. The Dwayne Johnson project that has been in production hell for a long time and has finally come to theaters. I saw it Friday night. Sol, when did you see it?
I saw it Thursday night.
You saw it Thursday night, so we saw it pretty fresh. This is one that I have gone back and forth on whether or not I was looking forward to seeing. The last trailer reaction we did, that particular trailer kind of started to win me over. Up until that, I was kind of I feel like the marketing for this movie was kind of a mixed bag to begin with, but this is the first DC movie we've had in theaters in a while, and a lot of hype going in for this one, coming from The Rock himself, talking about things like changing the face of the DCEU forever and a new driving force going forward, and all but spoiling the movie in every interview that he did. And so, like, my expectations were a little all over the place because, like, I'm hearing these good things coming from people. A lot of the early reviews were mixed to positive. How were you feeling before we even get into how we feel about the movie? How were you feeling going into it?
Well, going into it, I had very low expectations because I did not like the two trailers that we saw.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, this looks stupid. So I think it's a good thing I went in with low expectations because I was able to enjoy parts of the movie that I probably, if I went in with high expectation, I would probably been like, this is crap. um and there's a lot of people were like watching his interviews and all this, and because I didn't like the trailers, I didn't watch his interviews. The only reason I knew about a certain character showing up, which instead of cameoing in the movie, he was in the post credit or mid credit scene, whatever you actually call those. But I only knew that because like people like you were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like otherwise I wouldn't have known and been like, oh, thanks for spoiling, I guess. But I guess he's spoiling for everyone, so
Which I think was kind of his Hail Mary of, I think he knew like the marketing just wasn't selling the movie well. So I think he was trying to do what he could to drum up some excitement. We're gonna try to keep this first part of it as spoiler free as we can. Having seen it, there's not a lot I can talk about with this without spoiling it, other than just kind of general feelings. So we'll try. We'll put up the thing when it's time. But
I think I did, and this is really coming off of someone else reviewing, and I forget who said it, but it's a video game. That's what it is. It's a video game with some really cool like cutscenes. Like if you view it in that sense, because the action was really, really good. It was very Zack Snyder-ish in the way that some of the action was shot. A lot of slow motion, which you would get when you're playing like those beat 'em up games, where like it'll start slowing the action down a little bit so you can actually see like it instead of it being like, like the Goku Frieza when it's showing from like outside perspective where it's just a flash going around.
just dots.
Yeah, right. So it kind of was that. The acting from like Pierce Brosnan was really, really good. I actually like the acting from like the main guy who plays like the Falcon something. I forget the name of it. Hawkman. Yeah, he's basically Falcon, but DC Falcon.
Yeah, it's Aldous Hodge plays Cardinal Hawkman.
Aldous Hodge, and then Noah Centineo.
I've tried. I've seen. I've watched a couple different videos that everyone says his name different, so I have no idea.
Yeah. So his he just kind of came off in the same way. Like I really like the To All the Boys I've Loved Before movies on Netflix, and he's very charming in those. So he just comes off charming in this movie. So, but this kind of like when we were talking about She-Hulk, the script is not so good. So it's like good action, but very, very heavy on the CGI and the slow-mo. So then that if that takes you out of it, that's understandable. And then bad writing, but good acting with the bad writing, except for, I hate to say this, The Rock. And I haven't seen all of his movies, but I'm like, wow, this is such bad acting by The Rock. I was like, I don't like what he's doing at all. Like, he's probably the worst part of this movie is the main character, and everyone else is the better parts of this movie.
I kind of echo a lot of what you're saying. The action is the selling point on this movie. And there had been a couple of articles that come out in the last couple of days about how the original cut of the movie was R because the kills were so brutal. And it's not really much of a spoiler. Black Adam kills in this movie a lot. It's kind of a major plot point, actually. You see that in the trailers. It's not a spoiler, so don't at me. The fighting, the action sequences in this movie are top notch. This is some of the best superhero action sequences I have seen in a superhero movie in a while. It is shot with kind of that Zack Snyder style slow-mo. If that's not your bag, you might have a harder time with this. I'm a big fan. And I think it lended itself to, because there's a lot of times in the movie, he's got the same powers as Shazam, so he can move super fast, where it shows just how fast he is, because it's like blink and he's somewhere else. So I think the slow-mo did a great job of emphasizing, kind of similar to what you see like in the X-Men Quicksilver scenes, just how fast he's moving. So I appreciated it, because if a guy's moving that fast, you've got to slow it down, or the action sequences are going to last all 5 seconds.
It's going to be that Goku Frieza thing. Like, going to the anime, you watch them fight, and then they pull it away, and it's just dots moving around the screen.
It's like playing Pong at that point. So, but my biggest criticism with this movie is definitely the script. I don't think this is The Rock's worst performance. To me, it felt like The Rock was in a different movie. To me, it felt like The Rock was doing the movie I thought I was going to get, and everybody else was doing a totally different movie. But like we said, with She-Hulk and other things that have come out this year, it's like everyone in this movie is doing the best they can with what they got. Aldous Hodge and Pierce Brosnan need to go see a chiropractor to get their backs checked for carrying this movie. Hawkman and Dr. Fate carry this movie so hard. And we'll get into some more about that when we get into spoiler stuff, but there's one character in this movie that I'm convinced I missed a lot of this movie because I was rolling my eyes so hard every time they were on screen. Ultimately, Soul saw this first. She saw it on Thursday, and she messaged our group chat, and she was just like, "Mike, you're not going to like this movie." And that was a gross understatement. I really didn't like this movie. And I am the biggest DC apologist out there. I'm a DC shill. Call me what it is. I don't care. I did not like this movie. I did put up a review on Letterboxd. I tweeted it out earlier. It's a longer, more in-depth, non-spoiler review. And I also posted my play-by-play notes, which I like to do. So, which is a lot of me going like, bro, what the fuck? In my note, my theater was empty. It was a 3 p.m. showing, and my theater was empty, so I wasn't bothering anybody before you get mad at me for having my phone out in the theater. But no, I genuinely really did not like this movie, and I want to be very clear, like, because I feel like we tried to do this a lot with when we were reviewing She-Hulk as well, and I'm trying to get into this habit of not saying whether or not something is good or bad as much as just whether or not I liked it, because I do, especially nowadays, film criticism is so divisive, and ever more now than ever, people stand by what they like and what they don't like, and please do. A lot of my friends really like this movie, and more power to them. If they were able to if there was enough in this movie to keep them into it, that is great. There are, like I said, the action in this movie is very good.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of movies. I've made movies, I write, I do things like that. So there are certain things that are going to bug me more than other people, probably. Same with you. We do this. We're very analytical the way we watch movies. And I thought this movie was just a hot mess. It didn't seem like it had a cohesive story structure. It just kind of felt like
Seems like it's been in development since 2007, which it
Yeah,
has been.
it felt like a series of scenes. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't feel like there was an actual story. It was just like people were writing, what about this cool scene and this cool scene and this cool scene? And then we'll just stick them together for 2 hours and see if we make a movie out of it.
Yeah. There was even a moment and when we get to the spoiler part, I'll like describe it more. But there was a moment where I was just like, I have not read the comics. And I can see that that is pulled directly from the comics.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
we'll get into that when we get. I'm curious what you're talking about. We'll talk when we get into the spoilers.
Yeah, because like the scene, I was just like, I can 100% tell that this is a comic book moment, even though I have not read the comics.
I'm looking forward to hearing what that moment is. And well, speaking of that, I mean, there's not a whole lot else I can really say about this outside of the realm of spoilers. Just I did not enjoy it. I left the theater feeling pretty defeated. I think once the mid credit, and there's only one mid credit scene, there's not a post credit scene. So once the mid credit scene was over, I remember walking down the stairs, and before I even left the theater, I just remember mumbling to myself, "You got to be fucking kidding me." At which point the guy standing there with the broom and the dustpan waiting to clean up, I think, started laughing because I was just like, "It's ridiculous." Hey guys, it's Mike. So that's going to do it for our non-spoiler review of Black Adam. We're cutting it and splitting it into 2 videos because our spoiler review wound up going on a lot longer than we planned on. So that's going to go up as its own video on later in the day on Monday, because the more we talked about it, there was just a lot to really kind of pick apart and dive into. We do a very deep dive into the movie, kind of analyzing it point by point throughout the movie. So check that out once you've seen the movie. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the spoiler review.